Could you talk a little bit about where you think the stimulus package that is being debated in Congress is, and how severe a threat that could be to the economy if it does not get passed, say, before January?
So it is obviously it's for Congress to decide the timing, size, and components of further fiscal support for the economy. And I will say that the support provided by the CARES Act was absolutely essential in supporting the recovery that we've seen so far, which has generally exceeded expectations. And I do think it's likely that further support is likely to be needed for monetary policy and fiscal policy. I just mentioned the two risks that I think we face, and those would be well addressed through more fiscal policy. One is the further spread of the virus, and the other is the lapsing of the CARES Act benefits and the savings on people's balance sheets that will dwindle. But I think it's appropriate for us not to try to prescribe for Congress exactly what they should do or what the timing of it should be or what the size of it should be, and leave it at that.
Nick Timrose.
Thanks, Chair Powell. Nick Timrose at the Wall Street Journal. To follow on Marty's question, you really have been saying since April that more is needed on the fiscal policy front, and yet we don't seem to be that much closer than we were in the spring or the summer to additional spending. Two questions. Would the lack of fiscal support compel the Fed to provide additional accommodation? And are you and your colleagues being more vocal about the need for fiscal support because the capacity for monetary policy to support growth is diminished here given the low level of short and long-term rates? Thank you.
So on your first question, we'll take into account all external factors and do what we think we need to do with the tools that we have to pursue our goals. That's what we will do. And I've said on a couple of occasions that will go better and move more quickly if we have a broad set of policies from across the government. And we've said this from the very beginning. It's really, first and foremost, healthcare policy, getting the spread of the virus under control and working on therapeutics and vaccines and that kind of thing. Those are absolutely critical to the economy now. Those are important as well as health policies. They're going to be critical to the economy. Fiscal policy can do what we can't, which is to replace lost incomes for people who are out of work through no fault of their own. And then what we can do is we can obviously support financial stability through our lending programs, and we can support demand through interest rates and asset purchases and that sort of thing. So we're going to take the economy as it comes, including all external factors. So I think all of us lived through the experience of the years after the global financial crisis, and for a number of years there in the middle of the recovery, fiscal policy was pretty tight, and I think I just would say that I think we'll have a stronger recovery if we can just get at least some more fiscal support when it's appropriate. When it's appropriate and the size Congress thinks it's appropriate. I do think that will likely. And by the way, you see. A lot of discussion on both sides of the aisle, on both sides of the hill, that suggests generally that there will be something.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.